running just a minute late. Today's the 25th? Yep. This is the most important thing that I have to carry with me, so pardon me. I know. Late. Good evening, everyone. I will call the October 25th, 2022 Commissioners meeting to order. If you would all stand for the pledge and a prayer, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we ask that you bless our nation, bless this county and this meeting. Let us do things in accordance with your will. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. So we're going to kind of do a little different. I'm going to go through the reports, and then I know I have the public hearing for the vacating of the alley toward the end, and we're going to move that up to the front because I think that's what most of you are all here for, and no need for you guys to sit through a boring commissioners meeting to get to that. So have the commissioners had the opportunity to review minutes?
Make a motion, we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Have the commissioners had the opportunity to review the claims that were presented?
I make a motion, we accept the claims as presented.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Payroll. Have the commissioners had the opportunity to review payroll?
Make a motion, we accept payroll as presented.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And then we have, it looks like 4 reports. The monthly clerk report, the IDM monthly report, Weights and Measures monthly report, and the treasurer's monthly report. Do I have a motion to accept these reports as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. So we're going to jump ahead to the ordinance 2022-09-26005, vacating an alleyway. And let me get all my stuff together here. It is under tab 7 in your binder. Do I need to call a public hearing to order? You need to call a public hearing. Okay, so at this point, I will call the public hearing regarding ordinance number 2022-09-28005, an ordinance vacating a public way. Do I need to read this, Joel?
You probably don't need to read it in its entirety. Probably just summarize that it's.
There is an alleyway the Board of Commissioners own. It's called in the DeHart Second Edition in Newcastle. It's Hillsborough Road and Brown Road, and we are not in need of that and are going to hopefully vacate that alleyway. And I believe everybody I don't know that everybody was notified is here, but a good majority of the people that were notified regarding this is here. So do I need to take, at this point, public comment? So if there's anybody that wants to have public comment regarding this, please come up to the microphone. I believe I have it on mute, so if you want to speak, you'll just need to push the button to make it green. When you come up, if you would tell your name and where you live so we can note that, please. Could you push the button on the very top?
Bobby Craig, 3114 Brown Street.
Okay.
My mom and dad bought that property in '62, so I've been around there a minute. And I think the only problem there's going to be is in that right-of-way is overhead and underground utilities.
We have not been able to find any easements for utilities, whether it's on the plat or we have been looking and have not been able to find any easements for utilities.
Well, from Brown Road along the west side of my property, there's like a 3-foot easement. There's a water main, a gas main, and underground AT&T. And then back at the back of the property, there's those boxes that sit every so often. And then there's a power line that runs in. So technically, the north end of that right-of-way and the south end should be open for any utility vehicles, backhoes, bucket trucks, whatever.
Hang on one second. I'm just going to adjust the microphone.
Right on.
It does things on its own, so I'm just going to adjust it for you.
Push it away.
Give it back a little bit.
All you had to do was ask, and I
No, that's
pushed it.
all right, and we'll do this. Because sometimes if you push it too far back, we can't.
Okay. I can talk louder.
Maybe I can address your concern. If the commissioners vacate this, all this does is eliminate it as being used as a public right of way. It doesn't eliminate any existing easements that might be out there. So if there's an existing easement and somebody constructs something on it to block it, you're gonna have to deal with the utility company. It's just the commissioners can't go in and construct an alley.
Right.
That's what this is doing, is just taking that right to construct an alley away and putting the property back, in essence, to private property owners, subjecting any existing easements that may be out there anywhere.
Well, I mean, I'll take half of it. It don't bother me none. But, but if I put a fence back there and a utility truck needs to get down through there, tough shit. I mean, let's just,
Yeah, I mean, you may have to deal with the utility company at that point. It's just, this takes away the commissioner's right to go in and start paving an alley through there.
okay. I mean, it doesn't matter one way or another to me, but I didn't know if you were aware of all these utilities that's underground and overhead.
Yeah, we've been looking for easements and haven't been able to find any.
To my knowledge, the only one that's there is the one on the west side of my property line. And that's where the mains come from Brown Road and go straight back north. And there's underground, because we're on city water, but we don't have city sewage. So there's an underground water main, gas main, and there's underground telephone on that, like, 3-foot easement right there on the west side of my property line. And it goes straight back up through there in that right-of-way.
Okay. But that does, us doing this has nothing to do.
It wouldn't eliminate any existing rights that may be out there with respect to easements.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know, I didn't know about the utility companies
Sure.
creating problem, because if everybody expands their property lines and puts fences up, it's gonna be one hell of a mess if someone out there loses gas or a water main break or something else. So I didn't know.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
Daniel Wynn, 751 Kitwin. My biggest thing is, like he was saying, the plumbing, the water lines, property taxes going up. That's the biggest thing.
Well, and because you are increasing your amount of property by whatever that distance is, the length, whatever the distance is, your assessment will go up, yes.
That's what I'm saying.
But it's not, I mean, you're not getting an acre of ground.
Right, I understand that.
Yeah,
That's the biggest thing.
yeah.
Hi, my name is Benny Burris. I've lived out there for 67 years. My dad moved out there when I was a year old. There is utilities back there. There's people that put in septic tanks now have to put in a surface drain for the property, and they tie it into that drain. If you go out there and look, there's pipes sticking up. You've seen them, the big ones, that's what that is. That easement is 20 foot wide back there. So if I'm a property owner, you get half of that? How's that work? You
Yes,
get half.
you get half.
Okay.
Yes. If it's 20 foot wide, you
Yeah.
get 10 foot, the neighbor gets 10 foot. Or if you decide you don't want it, I guess you can make a deal with your neighbor and they could take it all.
They could take it off.
Yeah,
Yep, makes sense. I'm for that.
all right.
No problem.
Anybody else? Sure.
My name is Dennis Brown. I live on 262 North Hillsborough Road. The corner of the alley, what we're talking about, the alley come from off of Washington Street, straight through, originally alley, turned to the opposite direction, turns, makes a corner on my property, on my corner property, and it goes the opposite way. Goes to goes to Kentland Avenue, excuse me. Right there, there is a power packs in the alley there, in the corner. There's people all up and down through there that's got fences that all the way across. Has taken care
They
of this.
currently have a fence all the way across the alleyway?
Absolutely. And they've taken care of this for the last 50 years. I've lived there since 70. And I moved there across the street in 62. And I just moved back to the property in 70. And I've taken care of the land that's over to my neighbor's fence. And she was the one that got this started anyway, about the alley. Because my neighbors here put up a fence so they could protect their grandkids. That's the only reason. And she was mad about that, and I don't know, that's what got this started. Nobody wants the alley to come back into existence. She put a fence up, she put a gate up 2 weeks ago in the fence to the alley for the sole purpose. I don't know whether it's to say, well, I've been mowing this up back here for 50 years, which isn't true. I've been mowing my part, my width of yard, 60 foot, and my neighbor's been mowing their part for the last 50 years. But the reason they never did make that alley complete is because they can't make the corner turn with a truck.
Correct.
That's the sole reason. And there's an electrical box right there in the middle of that. Who's going to replace that? What are they going to do?
Well, and that's why we're wanting to vacate it and no longer have it. If you look at it on Beacon, it says that the Board of Commissioners own that alley. We want to give it back to the homeowners. We don't want to own that alley. We want to give it back to the homeowners.
Okay.
That's what we're wanting to do.
Okay.
Is if it's 20 feet wide, 10 feet goes to this homeowner and 10 feet goes to this homeowner. We don't want to.
You don't want.
We don't want to keep it.
You don't want the alley
No.
actually.
Nope. We don't want the alley.
We don't want you to have it.
Yeah, that's why we're wanting to vacate it. All right, thank you.
My name's Cody Andis, live at 3124 Brown Street. The privacy fence that is there now, commenting on some other people's concerns about the utilities, we did contact Duke, and we have an 8-foot drive gate that they're able to access the pole. That would be in our now backyard. They were completely fine with that. There was no concerns from them. So there is access to those. One thing I would like to ask everybody, a lot of us do have fences. That alley's not accessible right now to drive through if you wanted to. People got fences that have been up for, like a lot of these folks have said, 50 years. I know I'm newer. What I would like to bring up is possibly writing in that anything pre-existing from this date going forward, that stays where it's at. Because if we vacate it 10 feet, now you're going to have a bunch of civil things going on with people. Because there's already pre-existing, there's barns, there's fences, there's other things. I think this is going to turn into a larger civil thing. So just the concern of pre-existing things are built from this day forward.
As much as I wish you could do that, you really can't, because you can't make, that's a judicial type
Right.
determination or an article title of land. You guys have the right to vacate an alleyway, and then
Whatever,
the
you
legal
know.
effect of that would ultimately be something that's decided if it came to a dispute by a judge. But unfortunately, they could put that in the ordinance and really it wouldn't mean anything.
Right. Okay.
So they could vacate the alley, and then what the effect of that is ultimately determined by law.
Okay. Yeah, it just seems like
Makes a lot of sense.
in going forward, I just don't want everybody seems to be getting along well, so I just didn't want that to turn into a bigger ordeal where somebody is worried about the 10-foot. We've all been taking care of it. It gets mowed. We've all been, doing our own thing, so.
As I see it, it's not a problem unless you make it a problem.
Yes, sir.
If you're all going to get a little extra property,
Right.
and if you're happy with the fence that's there, I walked through there, and certain fences are across the whole alley.
Right.
Well, nobody owned the alley, so technically, they really shouldn't have been able to put a fence across the alley.
Correct.
It wasn't their property. But if everybody's happy with it being there, it can stay there another 20 years.
Correct.
But if somebody says, well, now I own this, and you can't have your fence there, really, you just have to take 10 feet of your fence down because you do own 10 feet of it.
Right.
And if it's not a problem to anybody, it's not a problem unless you make it a problem.
Right. I just wanted to voice that concern.
Sure, I appreciate that. And it would be nice if we could do that, but I think a judge would say, Yeah. Anybody else? Yes, Steve.
Me and Joe Copeland were thinking about this today. We looked at the schedule and knew this was going to be on here. We're getting this daily. People build fences up these easements. It's the county's property, and theoretically, then you get a neighbor that's mad because they built a fence, because they built it clear over to their side and say they own it. We don't have any interest in that. We hope they get what they want. The concerns I've got is when me and Joe was talking, sometimes the easements don't get transferred, but they get put in miscellaneous. That's hard to find, one. So I think that the best issue is for us to be careful the way we do this is from now on. One, I have drainage, and I've talked to Steve about this. I have county tiles that run through places. We have to protect that. Two is the utilities, like everybody's concerned with. I think the best way to handle that, with me and Joe talked about it, is to actually would be to write letters to those utilities asking that they know that. If they want to research and know they got an easement, then they can push on with what they do if they think they want to enforce that, because the gentleman's right. I get calls from REMC all the time. There's fences up, there's everything. They can't even get back there to get people electricity. That creates
Whether we have vacated it or not.
Yeah, whether we vacate it or not, we have people
Yeah,
building.
oh, yeah,
on
it's happening.
easements, and we don't have
The
control.
interesting thing, right, the interesting thing is we're getting more and more phone calls about people building fences
Yeah.
in
And
an area that.
I'm not saying that's bad or good.
No, I'm not either.
Yeah.
We're just getting.
We're not here to argue that
Right,
fact, but I'm
exactly.
just here to say that we get those conversations.
Right.
We can't control that. You guys own that property right now. I see, give it back to the people. We're not using it. It's
Right.
never going to be developed. I agree with that. But let's be cautious how we do it. That's why I think we'd be better to send letters to, like the gentleman said, there's a water line, electric, gas, whatever's in there. Let them do their due diligence. We're getting ready to vacate this. Do you have concerns with it? I mean, you'll have to address it. I don't, unless there's something under the miscellaneous that states that, which we've researched that, and we found some stuff I think one's the Ivy Tech building down there. They
yeah.
wanted to put stuff in there. They're individual easements. There's 3 different easements down there that was done back in 1926, or I don't know when it was, but it was done back then. So, I mean, there could be an easement and come back and bite us. I mean, we don't, and I just try to protect the county because I work for the county.
Absolutely.
These people deserve what they want to get, but it's one of those things where I want to be safe. And Joel, I mean, whatever he says goes, but I'm just saying that's what we decided that we need to really look into. So,
Do you have,
Well, I mean, the thought on that, it's probably not a bad idea to let easement holders
sure.
know, that you're considering one of these. I mean, it doesn't look like they're using this necessarily as a way to travel through the alley.
right.
So that probably doesn't create as much concern as it might in other instances, but I mean, if, it's probably not a bad idea going forward,
Okay.
sending the utilities some notice of these, and, tonight you can conduct a hearing and take action on the ordinance at the next meeting if you so choose. You just have to, we'd advertise the hearing tonight, so.
Right.
It's an opportunity for
Right.
people to be heard. If you would like to do that, then we could send letters also to the utilities, just making them aware that you're considering this ordinance.
All right.
And if they don't respond, then it's their,
Right, then they
it's their
don't respond.
problem.
Right. Thank you,
Right.
Steve.
Yeah, so.
Thank you.
Anybody else? With that being said, so we have a couple options. We can accept this ordinance and vacate the alley. Do I need to close the public hearing first? Okay, so I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
So we have two options. We can vote on this ordinance to accept it, to vacate the alley, or we can table it, since we've had the public hearing this one, and table it until the November 7th meeting, allowing Joel to notify any utilities in the alleyway. Any discussion, or do I have a motion?
I would like to ask a question
Oh,
of Joel,
sure.
I think. Let's say the sewer line runs down there, and we don't know it. If somebody had to go in there now and repair it, they would have to deal with existing fences that have already been put across this alley.
Correct, yeah, I mean, they would still, you don't,
There's several that are there already.
anyone that holds the easement doesn't lose that easement right if you vacate the alley. It just eliminates its ability to be used as a public right of way.
Right, so then at that point, if they had to come in and dig up or repair the sewer line, they'd have to notify the property owners and probably tear one of the fences down or two fences so they could get their equipment in and fix it. And so,
Or go across I mean, that's kind of an extreme, but let's say they have to fix an electrical line, they would have to go through a private property. Yeah.
right, so I think it's a good idea to notify them so that they could put it in their records, but I don't think it changes anything we're doing. Unless, for some unknown reason, they would have an objection to us vacating this alley, which probably wouldn't happen, would it? I mean, under what circumstances might that happen?
I don't know if I could come up with one sitting here.
Right.
There probably is one if I thought about it long enough.
Okay, so do I have a motion, or Steve, you have?
So, right now, there's no, as we put it, we're just vacating that as our ownership, turning it back over to the landowners that are there now.
Correct.
And that being said and done, any easement that's already there for any utility that was there still stands.
Correct.
So basically, all we're doing is we're giving property that we own back to the property owners that are along that alley.
Correct.
We don't want to own it anymore.
I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Yes, we are.
So,
In that case, I will make a motion that we accept ordinance number 2022-09-28005 and vacate this public way.
I will second that.
So we have a motion by Ed Tarantino, second by Steve Dellinger. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. So now, and I was going to bring a copy of it with me, so now the process is, obviously, we sign this, and then will we send them, or can they come just to get we'll have the copy of the ordinance at the auditor's office? We'll just have copies of the ordinance at the auditor's office. You will come to the auditor's office, and they will make the appropriate changes to the property record. Is that correct? Yep. Yeah. For it to... It's 20 feet. Uh-huh. Yeah. So we'll make sure to have plenty of copies of this ordinance at the auditor's office, which is on the second floor. And you can come and have them modify your property records to reflect the amount of the easement that we are vacating. No, you have to come. Yeah.
Will we have to get it resurveyed or what, for the extra 10 foot, if that's what it is?
Not necessarily. I mean, at some point, well, I can't say in all circumstances it wouldn't be beneficial to get a survey, but not always do people need to get surveys when houses are vacated.
You can go to the records and look it up. You can measure 16 and a half foot off of the center of Hillsborough Road. You can measure your lot, which is 167 feet, plus the 10 in that.
Does that make sense? Okay, okay. I just wanted to make sure before I moved on. Yeah.
If it's gonna split between me and Dan there, I'll take 10 sheet, if I don't care.
Right.
But, I don't know how it's all gonna work out,
Yeah.
Give 10 foot for me, Andy.
Okay, so we're now going to, if there's nothing else on that one, we're going to move on. We have, get back to the very front. We have, yeah, we did. We did vote on that. Yeah, I said all in favor signify by
Yeah,
saying aye.
3-0.
Yeah, 3-0. We had me question when you asked me. Wasn't sure.
Congratulations to all of you who wanted extra property. You have it, so.
Thank you all for coming. Yeah, we'll have the copies up there tomorrow morning, but there's no time limit. I mean, you don't have to, it's on the second floor. Right through there. We'll let everybody clear out. The auditor's office, which is on the second floor. Yeah, second floor. It's actually through this door. No, we'll have the ordinances. Well, that emptied out pretty quick, didn't it? I said that emptied out pretty quick.
Back to normal.
Survey. She would have to contact a private surveyor, and they would come out. And you would take a copy of the ordinance, they'd get a copy of the ordinance and all that, and they would survey the property. No.
Well, we basically vacated the alley. To get a copy of the ordinance, you have to go into the auditor's office. It'll be
We'll
there.
have copies there tomorrow in the auditor's office. You take the copy of the ordinance.
So you now own 10 feet more than you owned before.
My property adjoins 8 different properties.
Right.
I don't know if I'm going to have any, I don't.
Well, they'll have to, the auditor will be able to help you with all of that.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
This office, right through that door.
Call me, all right?
Sure.
Okay, so next we have a food and beverage claim, project number 40, Jordan Arena Dietz Electric, in the amount of $6,769.38. Do we have the actual claim also, or you have the actual claim? This is just a copy of it? Okay. This is for the Jordan Arena. I'm assuming it's pre-paint because I don't think they've started any work out there yet, to my knowledge. Okay. So do I have a motion to accept this food and beverage claim in the amount of $6,769.38 for Jordan Arena at the Saddle Club?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. So Corey's not here, Shonda's not here, Scott's not here. I am going to take the opportunity, and I don't remember where I put it, but yesterday, the commissioners accepted an offer on the EMS building in the amount of $25,000. We should close on that building on or before November the 17th. So I just wanted to make sure that was out there. Angela is not here. Stacy's not here. Joe Copeland.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have three things this evening. First item is we have a new development that may be coming in, State Road 3 and I-70, rather large development, and they're currently working on a traffic impact analysis for the property. I've discussed with them access, and they've talked to NDOT, and NDOT's telling, we asked them to move it north of 125 west, north of the signal on north. State doesn't want that. State wants it at 125. Yeah, there's only about 150 feet of storage for trucks. That means 2 trucks. It's not enough. So I contacted a traffic engineering firm in Indianapolis who I've worked with many times before, A&F Engineering, and asked them what they would want to review the traffic impact analysis that's done by their consultant. And so they sent me a proposal that says maximum not to exceed fee would be $4,500, and they give me the hourly rate schedule for those engineers and managers. So, did you get a copy, Joel? I did. Okay. So what I'm asking for is approval to use A&F Engineering to do a review of the traffic impact analysis for the new development, pending their approval to proceed. My understanding, they've got to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals. They've got to rezone. And so I don't want to begin this until, or give them approval until I know that it's going to come.
Until they get it, to move forward, they have to get it rezoned. If they don't get it rezoned, then this is a moot point. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so I'm going to tell Steve at Fairbach at A&F that, you know, if they don't get rezoned, then we're not going to do it. Yeah. But my understanding is they're working on, their consultant, the developer's consultant is working on a traffic impact analysis now.
Okay. So do I have a motion to accept this pending Board of Zoning Appeals approval to rezone? Is that, or moving forward?
To review the impact analysis
Okay.
if it's rezoned.
Contingent upon, I should say, it's contingent
Yes.
upon this. Do I have a motion to accept this contingent upon
So move.
approval?
Second.
Motion by Steve Dillinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you. Next item, I didn't bring the quotes with me, but we've got a situation at the highway. We've got 2 large buildings and the roofs are leaking. They've been leaking for a little while. So one's in the office area upstairs, and the other one has got some problems in several locations throughout the building. Thank you. We got 3 quotes to do the project, and well, one was $104,450 for one, is this all of them?
Yeah,
Okay.
the two from Good Hughes, one for $104,450 and $90,700. I'm guessing that's for the two different, one's the older building and one's the newer building. And then you have one from Integrity Metal Roof and Barns.
One of the bidders, the low bidder, wanted so much
$93,000.
upfront,
Yeah.
and we cannot pay them.
Oh, he wanted
Yeah, he wants
100%
30
upfront?
No, he wants
it's 30,000.
$30,000 down
Yeah.
up front.
Yeah, so,
He wants money up front, and we can't do that.
okay, so that one.
Correct, Joel?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I can't pay until the work is completed or the material or equipment's delivered.
And then the other one is an Integrity Metal Roof and Barns one. I'm assuming one is the $115,680 and the second building is $97,420.
I would, the second bidder, which is from Ridgeville, I would recommend using their quote.
To use Good Hughes, is that the one, Good Hughes or Integrity?
Yeah, it's good use.
Good Hughes?
That's the one that's standing seam.
Standing seam, yes.
Good Hughes is the standing seam.
And that's the middle bid out of all of them.
And this the middle bid, and we're not required to take low bid if there's a significant difference in the construction. Is that correct? Okay, and this is my understanding. Say that word again, say it again.
Standing seam.
Standing seam is much better than, I'm not a roofer. I don't pretend to understand.
Does away with those screws and
And
the
there's no-
chance
yeah.
of
Of leakage
leaking,
and.
yeah, in the future, yeah.
And I know that we can, this was brought up at a work session a few weeks ago, that we do have GO bond money to use to pay for this. So do I have a motion to accept Good Hughes Roofing Service bids for $104,450 and $90,700 to repair the two roofs at the Highway Department utilizing the existing GO bond that we currently have.
Unless Joe wants to pay for it.
Unless Joe Copeland wants to pay for it out of his
But
budget.
Joe Copeland would be taking it out of road money, so. no,
We're not taking it out.
We don't want- we don't.
We don't want that.
So moved.
Second,
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The last item I have is I was asked to put together some numbers for a street that's private, trying to get it to a decent shape, and that's Wild Cherry Road from Addison Avenue to Erie Avenue. I went out and measured it, looked at it. It's currently 12 feet wide. I propose to widen it to 16. That's about as good as it's going to get. We got utilities close. We got trees on the north side. Yeah, it'll be tough to get 16. We got to cut some brush to be able to do the work, and then put some pave it, and put stone along the edge of the asphalt. This will get us. That will get a road that will be decent. It still won't be to subdivision control specifications. If I were to do that, I'd have to cut trees, add, probably move utilities, and a lot of other, and bring in dirt. It'll be a mess. And I expect that to be well over $100,000 to do all that. So, just to get it in a decent shape, my estimate was $40,000. That does not include culvert pipes for the driveways. There's no culvert pipes in the driveways. And that takes us just down to the curve there at Erie, so.
So when you say that that doesn't meet the subdivision controls,
Yeah, there's a subdivision control ordinance that dictates what kind of streets are to be installed today in a subdivision, and this will not meet that standard, okay? But it'll be something that's drivable and usable, but to do that, to widen that road out, and I believe today's standard calls for curbs. That's a tremendous amount of, plus there's utilities in the way.
so all that we would really be doing, we wouldn't be making it to standard.
No,
We
we
would just be just making it fixable.
Yeah, that you could drive on reasonable.
Okay.
That we still have to, even after, if this were to happen, and don't they still have to maintain it for 2 years like we did with the one we just took in before we would take it over? Or are we just taking it over and,
I mean, you could legally, I think, accept the road as part of your inventory and fix it, and then from this point forward, you have the obligation to fix it. Now, in other instances, I don't think, one other instance we did, I think there was some short period of time in which the property owners had to maintain or do something before it reverted to the county. I'd have to look at it.
So with this, it's my understanding this $40,000 would be the homeowner's responsibility to cover.
Well, as it stands right now, it would be.
Yeah.
It's not a
County road.
county road.
Right. Yes, Steve? There's no drainage down there either. Right, so we would just be fixing a road that, right. Right. Okay.
but then, even after this, you were talking about this subdivision standard, would we be skirting our responsibility by not bringing it up to that standard by putting it in? And I want your honest answer, Joe.
I think I know. what
If-
that's-
If it were put all on my shoulders, I would want it brought up to today's standards. It's today, it's
It's today.
2022. I would want it brought up to these standards, yes.
Correct. And I don't disagree with that. I mean, if we're going to take a new road to today's standards, we want it to today's standards, not to 19,
You'd want it to last.
you want it to last.
Yeah, you don't
Because
want
my
it
thought is if, okay, $40,000 to do this in 2 years, is it going to be another, or 5 years, especially with drainage? It's going to be another crumbling road, and we've gotten nowhere except wasted $40,000. Yes, sir? Correct. Exactly. Exactly. So, I
That's
guess
my concern has been from the start with this, is we can't afford to fix what we have, and adding more that are substandard, that are in subdivisions, is to me a task that I'm not sure we should undertake at this point.
Correct. Yes, Steve?
I would say that you could do a option to make the cost of goods work, if it were basic materials and do things like that.
Right, a one-time thing?
The- There was another question that came to my mind was, who owns the road now? I mean, the lot owners don't, as far as I know, but, I mean, would it go revert back to the original developer and his descendants?
Well, interestingly enough, there has been litigation involving that subdivision before. And that was one of the questions. It dealt with the right to condemnation proceeds when I guess what now has become the lake was taken in by the Conservancy District. And essentially, that was from the seventies, and I think what the court said was that as it stood originally, it would have gone to the, I guess, the lack of a better word, but the equivalent of a homeowners association in the 1920s would have been, I think, like a development corporation.
Oh, okay.
But because that entity no longer existed, those rights in that, it discussed that roads then would have reverted to being owned by the property owners. So I guess the way to view it is, technically, they could put up a fence at the start of, you know, where that road begins and where it ends, and limit who comes in and who doesn't come in.
So it would be like, a common area related just to those property owners that live around.
Correct.
And did you say that the estimate to bring it up to today's standard was about 100?
Oh, it'd be over 100,000. There's no
It'd be
doubt.
more.
about that. I mean, it's huge, huge number. I mean, the time you put curbs in it and you put the right amount of asphalt in it, and,
How many homes are out there?
well, not including at the curb, I counted 3.
So you're essentially talking about 3 homeowners footing the bill if they want this.
Yeah, that's a pretty good amount.
I share the concern of, I think, Steve, you said this, then what? How many private roads are there in the Henry County? Then what? You know, and that has been my statement all along is you do one, you do them all. I know, I would be very surprised.
Lake Haven.
Well, and then, I mean, this is kind of an absurd comparison, but it's no different than my mom's driveway. I mean, I would never have you come out and pave my mom's driveway. It's a private driveway, but it's a private road, private driveway. You know, so... And I know this is not popular with the people that live down there, but, you know, if they want to pay the money to bring it up to today's standards and the way we require everybody else to do it, then we can look at bringing it into the inventory. But at this point, it is a private road, and it is the responsibility of the homeowners to maintain that private road. I empathize and sympathize with them, but yes, they can block it off and make it no, you know, I know there's been some concern. Someone assumes that because there's a boat ramp to the lake that it's a county road. Well, we don't own boat ramps or maintain boat ramps. You know. So do I have a motion on how to move forward? I mean, there's really nothing to do.
Next topic.
Yeah, just go to the next topic. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing, it's still a private road. Yes, Steve?
It's no different than a legal drain.
Correct.
I've got private use drains out here that everybody, concerns with the county drain. They can ask for them to be brought into our system, but they have to be across working order, they can't be bad shape. We have to take that into consideration.
Right. And, yeah, I mean, it is. I agree. Otherwise, talk about being a broke county. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Steve, you have anything? You've said everything you want to say? Sheriff? Yep. Do you want us to move that up front, or do you just wait till we get to it? Okay. Auditor's not here, clerk's not here, park's not here, assessor, recorder, weights and measures, 911, EMS, treasurer. Glenn, do you have anything? All right. And well, you know what? We don't have Scott listed here, so I'm just going to, I didn't realize we didn't have the building inspector listed on department heads, so I'll just go ahead and go with him. So he has been tasked, we had appropriated ARP funding for vehicle purchases for weights and measures and for the building inspector. Today he was able to, he's got 3 quotes, but he was able to find one. The other 2 wouldn't hold it till we had a meeting tonight to approve it. I don't know that, I may not have given you a copy of that. The top one is the one from Ed Martin. So we have one from Ed Martin for $35,949. I'm not sure what with CPO. And American Chevrolet, and who's the other one? Sam Pierce Chevrolet, the only one that would put a hold on the vehicle until the meeting tonight was Ed Martin Chevrolet for the $35,949. I'm sure there may be some other fees in there. I believe we have approximately $43,000 left out of that ARP money appropriated for vehicles. Any questions, comments? With that said, do I have a motion to accept the quote for Ed Martin's quote for a 2020 Chevrolet Blazer body type sport utility for $35,949?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Steve Delling, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Well, Sheriff, we have moved to the Tiger contract. So, Tiger Correctional Services Full Food Services Agreement. I know Joel has reviewed this. Sheriff, you want to discuss this a little bit?
What I can tell you is, moving forward, with the way prices are going, having to pay a salary, full-time salary for a cook to be back there, it's proposed and stated that they can save us approximately $20,000 going forward. And I realize that would be based on food prices going up, but if there is a savings, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking for the possibility of being able to have them supply cook itself, and for us to be able to maintain that position to use one before.
So no one at the jail will be losing a job?
No one's losing.
Yes, no one's losing a job. And this is my understanding, it's just a one-year contract and then can be renewed.
The reason for that is I know like the sheriff, I was locked into a couple of 3-year contracts that I really didn't appreciate. Because when we did our homework, we could save some money going in other directions, but we got through this. Let it go on those contracts, so I'm going with 1 year, so the next year, in the next October, take a look and decide for himself if he wants to go ahead with this or wants to do something else, or with a different firm.
And this is my understanding that the meals that are provided, obviously they do 3 meals a day. That also includes, I think what we talked about was special meals for the holidays.
There will be a dietitian on board to evaluate the meals that they're serving.
Okay. Joel, do you have any questions or concerns? I'm hoping I put the correct copy in there. Don't, okay. Right, right. I wasn't sure which copy was the correct one. Okay. Okay. Okay, so the copy that Joel has reviewed, and there were some changes that he requested, and Tiger Food Services agreed to those changes, and those changes were made, so.
I have a question. Now, are they going to utilize the equipment stuff at the jail?
Yes.
So then they will be coming in. And are you okay with strange people coming into the jail at this point?
One strange person.
Okay.
We'll vet them before they ever walk through that.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
And it's my understanding also that Tiger Food Services, we're not the only jail that they provide this service to.
Allen County is 4 points. They're 7.
Okay. Any other questions or comments, Ed?
Only one. If you had, I heard you talk about possibly opening up this, what'd you call it, across the street?
Transition Center?
If that ever did become open, would these guys truck food over there, or?
My understanding they can and they would, yes. They could do that.
Any other questions? With that said, do I have a motion to accept the Tiger Correctional Services Full Food Services Agreement, the version that Joel has approved. I apologize for not getting the correct one in here. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. The next on the itinerary is the memorandum of understanding regarding reappointment of the public defender. And I hope I have the correct one in here as well. What this basically allows is, I'm trying to get through because this is very long, get through to the one where it talks about the county council. What this allows, and Kathy, if you want to come up, your board approved this. The only change to this is to allow that the county council can adjust the cost or the dollar figure amount of the contract for raises as they give raises throughout the county.
That is a line that was taken exactly verbatim out of my part-time public defender's contracts. Because I think it was keeping me from getting raises when they were allowing raises because I'm on a multi-year contract.
Okay. And that is the only change that was made to this in September. And you've reviewed this as well, Joel. So what this allows is, so when the county council is providing raises for everybody else, because this is a contracted position, they can adjust that dollar figure even though it's under a contract. So do I have a motion to accept this memorandum of understanding?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ed Tarantino, who are you, Steve Dellinger? Yep, second by Ed Tarantino. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. Thanks, Kathy. Well, do you need us to sign and get you a copy? Okay, we'll do that tomorrow. All right, thank you. So November 23rd, I've had this on the itinerary for 2 months, and I keep forgetting. So November 23rd, obviously, is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and we would like to kind of reschedule that. I know you don't cook and you don't cook, but I do cook for Thanksgiving, and others do as well that must attend. So is anybody opposed to changing our meeting to either the 16th of November or the 30th of November?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the 16th is not good because I have a lady sitting in the back row.
Oh, that's
that
right, I
will
know
be
why.
Very, very upset with me if we do that.
It's Steve and Sheila's anniversary on that day. Sorry. Okay, so November the 30th, would that work with you, Joel? Okay, Ed, November the 30th?
To have a meeting.
Yes, to move our November 23rd meeting
To the 30th.
to the 30th.
Is that when our conference starts?
Oh, yeah, we won't be here. Never mind, we won't be here. So can we just do everything in one meeting on not have a November? We're only required by law to have one a month, is that correct, Joel?
That's right.
Yeah, so, thank you, I forgot about that. I guess we could move it to the 22nd, if you want to do it on a Tuesday. Does the 22nd work for you, Joel? I know, too many calendars to look at. 22nd work. Hey, do you prefer the 16th?
I was like, you should have said that earlier.
Okay, the 22nd, Tuesday, the 22nd at 6 o'clock. Kayla, did you get that? Tuesday, the 22nd at 6 o'clock. Okay. Okay, the next agreement we have is Archive Social. This is an agreement to add a backup opportunity with our website, different items. They are giving us a 12 months for the cost of 6. This does not lock us into a long-term contract. We can end it really basically month to month. but this does, for website, social media, additional backup of items that are required for public records. So do I have a motion to accept Archive Social's quote for $1,794? Joel has reviewed this as well, for the archiving subscription for up to 12 months.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. And then finally, Schaefer Leadership. I had to have them reprint this because they had, the copy they gave me said county council. So this is the, so at last meeting, Jeff Robinson was here to present a team assessment proposal. He also presented it to the county council. The first assessment consists of surveys and interviews, and then a recommendation. That is $2,500, and then moving forward, there would be other contracts, other opportunities presented once they do the assessment for $2,500. I know there was discussion at the council meeting as to whether or not we wait until after the election, after first of the year, new people coming in. Do we include those that are going, ending their service to the county? So I'm going to open that up for discussion.
That is my concern. I would like to wait, because you got people that's going to be going out of office, new people coming in, and if we start it now and then those people are gone, and then you have new people coming in, they're going to have to either do it over or try to include those people into a job they're just learning. I would recommend that we wait until after the election.
After the election or after the first of the year?
I'd say probably after the first of the year. Because this way it gives a chance for those people to kind of get somewhat acclimated to what they're doing, and then they can review this and make that decision.
Well, I think that we should do it after the election, and we could include the newly elected people, because I think you lose the people that you have. They don't get to participate. They know what's been going on for the last 4 years. And new people aren't going to know a whole lot in January. They really wouldn't learn a lot until they were in office, probably 3 months, 6 months. So if you're going to do it, I think we could include the newly elected people. I haven't seen the survey, depending on...
Well, nobody's going to see the survey until we sign a contract.
Right, but, yeah, until you actually see the survey questions, you don't know whether you want the outgoing people's opinions or how much they would count or not. But just waiting till after the first of the year, if they brought the surveys in, the new people, they wouldn't really be any better off, because they would really have no experience in the job.
It's like, I wasn't sure when you have your newly elected, how available they're going to be till after the first of the year, and that was where one part of my concern was, since they're
And
technically not taking
nobody's sworn
office.
in until
Yeah,
the end
but I
of the
mean,
year anyway.
if they're,
Correct. Right, yeah, nobody has to do it. I mean, we could be spending $2,500 and get 2 people to take the survey. We don't know. I mean, right, you're exactly right. I mean, correct, because it's not required, and I could ask you, Steve, to do it, but I don't know that I could require you to do it. Correct. So- Well, I guess that's that. And just to play devil's advocate here, you know, the statement was newlies aren't going to know in January, they're not going to know in November either. Newly elected people, you said it would take 3 to 6 months. Newly elected people are not going to have an opinion in November any more so than they are in January, so
I wouldn't
just to
think
kind of point that
they would
out.
have enough experience that they would fill the questionnaire out differently in January than they would in December or
So
November.
but that's Steve's argument of waiting till January. Your argument is waiting till before January, right?
I just think that the outgoing people should have the opportunity to participate in the survey. Now, if you wanted to wait till after January and allow the people who left office to still participate, that would be fine also.
So do I have a motion one way or the other?
I'll say, and I don't have a problem with that either. I think maybe we should take a survey of what the people want to do.
Well, this is not something that we have to decide on today. I mean, we can table this until we get a
Well, it was
a consensus.
Schaefer's recommendation that everyone took it also.
I understand, but we can table this to get a consensus of at least the elected officials. You gonna come back in January?
Yeah, I could take it in January because I go to Kroger all the time anyway. It's only a couple blocks away.
Because I think everybody has valid points, I think I'm going to make the motion to table this until we can get a better consensus of what we truly want. Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's confusing trying to figure it out. So I think we'll get a consensus of at least the elected officials. Department heads, elected officials. I mean, we won't send it out all county, to all county employees, but, so I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to make the motion to table this pending reaching out to department heads and elected officials of how they would like to see this set up.
I'll second that.
Motion by me, Bobby Plummer. Second by Steve Dellinger. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. I think that's everything. Anybody have? Yes, ma'am. Yes, you may.
Did you want to fill out the survey?
Not tonight. I'm Val McNellis, and I just have a question because the sheriff had mentioned the transitional building or the Eddie Dyer building. Is it still being used, or is it a vacated building?
Well, it's still not empty, right? We still have stuff over there, right? Yeah, we still have stuff over there.
So would it be like discussed after the new election and whatever, whether they're going to continue in use? I guess I'm just asking from a point, is it going to be a vacated building? Is it on your plan to do something with it so it doesn't deteriorate?
It has been discussed, yes.
Great, okay, so thank you very much.
Yes, we have
thank you.
had several conversations of different things that it could be used for, up to and including possibly liquidating the building. We're not,
I'd rather get ahead of it than behind.
yes.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Janet Maxwell, and I just want to know the process that's used to get your road repaired. So we live out on Fairway Drive. There's 15 homes there. The road is terrible. So I just want to know, what do we need to do?
And you'll have to.
Give us lots
Where's
of
Fairway
money.
Drive?
Just north of,
I probably know where it's at, but,
north of the golf course on 3.
oh, yes, okay, yes, I do know where it's at. Sorry, I just know how to get to places a lot of times, and, you know.
I've talked to 2 or 3 people. I just talked to a lady the other day from there. And I told them earlier and I told them now, there's some drainage issues that I would like to correct in there if we can. That's the next question, if we can. Steve and I happened to be over there a few weeks ago, and we were kind of looking at the situation, and we think that the inlets go to a pipe that's north of the street and then runs out toward 3. We need to confirm that. We need to know some sizes. But anyway, once we get the drainage looked at, then next year I'd like to go in and resurface the road. So, but I'm going to use a special asphalt mix to do it with.
And that's pending getting the drains fixed?
Excuse me?
Did you say that's pending getting the drains fixed?
Well,
Or
if I
drainage issue
can,
fixed, if they can be?
if I can fix them, I mean, if
Yeah.
we can't, we can't, but we're going to see if there's something we can do to help out. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I was down it just the other day, yeah.
All right.
So,
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was built in the 70s and nothing's been done to it that we know of. And there are only 4 little drainage spots on the whole road. On our cul-de-sac, there's nothing. And somebody, we had a meeting, neighborhood meeting the other night, and someone said that when some concrete was taken up for something, there's no rebar underneath. Yeah. Right. It's awful. No, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
So you are looking. Perfect. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, everyone. If you want to send me that, I thought I printed off the one that Rebecca sent.
Yeah, I know,
But-
when several of these drafts go around.
I know, it just gets a little.
It gets confusing as to which one to get. Yeah, I'll send that to you.
Hey, James, how are you?
That's the only thing I have. And I got the deed from Citizen back. So
Oh,
it's
yeah,
getting
good.
recorded, so
All right, good,
they'll
thank
sell
you.
the building